exercising or whatever it is. And I told her, well, I help many people get unstuck in situations. And sometimes it's through helping them lose weight. Sometimes it's through helping them, build confidence, work through trauma, all sorts of different things that people come in for. So, so she wanted me to come and talk to you about, what's hypnotherapy, which is, I like to rephrase that as insight therapy, because the therapy I do, so hypnotherapy is actually when people are at a relaxed state. So your body's relaxed and then your mind is at a heightened learning. And so as a therapist, I help really just guide a person through healing and going back and seeing maybe things that were, where they might have had misperceptions, and I help them neutralize what gets them stuck, like the unhealthy thinking. And so I work in many ways in doing that, but I just don't do hypnotherapy. I'm a therapist also. But when I feel like this is a good timing, when someone feels like this is good, that's what they want, then I offer that, which is very unique.
It is awesome. Can you give us some examples of reasons that people are either stuck or don't get started, or they get started and they lose interest quickly?
Well, sure. I mean, I think the way I look at, when people come in, I love to just listen to their story, and I help them dream. I help them dream, what do they see as their future? And I kind of see people as like a hot air balloon, right? Like in a hot air balloon, you can fill it up with all this great air, right? Like you can have all these great dreams. You can think, oh yeah, I'm going to lose that weight. I'm going to do all this stuff. I have, I'm going to, go to Becca's exercise. I'm going to eat all healthy. I'm going to, do all these great things.
I'm going to drink water. I'm going to go to sleep on time.
Yeah, all those great things. Like, I'm going to be more disciplined. I'm going to get what I want, right? So, and you can fill that hot air with everything that you want to make it go up. But if you have these like sandbags, right, on the basket, right, and the sandbags are kind of like your unhealthy thinking. No matter how much air you give, no matter how much like Becca classes you want to attend, no matter how much healthy food you put in your house, if you get stuck and you go back to that unhealthy thinking, you're not going to show up for class. You're not going to eat the healthy food. It's so in therapy, I help people work through letting go of those sandbags that are on their basket. And so that can allow them to actually be healthy and achieve their goals. So that's what happens with being unstuck.
That's awesome. The people who are on right now, would you like to share in the chat area a sandbag that you might be carrying, that you've realized, or that you're thinking, wow, this is exactly what I need to know? If you want to share in the chats, you're welcome to do that.
Sure, they can ask questions. So I can share like a case. So I had a client, and we'll just say her name's Kathy. Okay. And so Kathy came in because she kept getting in relationships with men. She's older, she's not 20, she's older, very pretty, very educated, right? Great career, but she kept getting in relationships with men that when she started to date them, she just would lose herself. And she became very obsessed about controlling. Where was this going to go? And very focused on really a lot of anxiety that would happen in the relationship, because she kept focusing on what's the end? Are we going to get married? Can I? So so in therapy and our insight therapy, we're able to explore where that anxiety was from. Why did she have that anxiety? Why was it that every time she got in a relationship, she lost who she was? Forgot who she was. She had no voice, basically. Like her whole goal was to please the other person. And she would forget about herself. And then, of course, what happens is the anxiety gets more and more, and then she'd push the guy away, right? And so in therapy, we explored where did that thinking come from, where she had to actually deny herself, not know how to be honest with her partner, that it was all about him and nothing really about the two of them as an equal. And so we were able to work through that. And now she was able to figure out, okay, my voice is important. I do need to be heard. And because she's able to hear, she'd be able to speak, say what she needed and wanted, then he was able to meet it. And then the anxiety lessened on her side. And so so she didn't have to control him so much. And then she's able to have a healthy relationship.
Oh, that's absolutely amazing. So, how long does something like that generally take? I know everybody is different.
Right. So
I guess it depends on
um,
how
it
candid they
depends.
are with you.
Okay, so hypnotherapy, that's kind of why I got hooked to it, because when a person's ready to really let go of the pain, when a person really wants to change, they're like, I just can't live like this anymore. The hypnotherapy works great because it typically takes like 6 sessions. The sessions are an hour and a half. And it works so quick because hypnotherapy, well, the way that we think is we have a conscious way of thinking, which you can only really think about like 7 things at one time. Like it's what we're saying to each other. That's your conscious. And then you have a subconscious, which is kind of who you really are deep down inside, which you really believe. And then you have your unconscious, which is like your body, how your body responds to things. So what hypnotherapy does is that it works between your conscious and your subconscious, which you have like this critical thinker, which protects you, which
Mm.
is really helpful. You need that. But when you want to really like change, it's hard to get to the subconscious to change because that critical thinker is always protecting you. So
Wow.
in hypnotherapy, we actually go in and we allow that critical protector, that protection to lower, which allows the therapist to get in and kind of guide the subconscious part of you to really examine, say, gosh, let me think about why I am the way I am, and let me neutralize that and really see what's true.
It's
And so hypnotherapy works a lot faster because you're able to go into the subconscious, and work on a deeper level. But not everybody's ready to go there. Some people, they need a little bit more time to relax and build that, like, okay, I really do want to let it go. And I work in a way with the program that we work through cognitive thinking, and then we have the hypnotherapy, and then I teach self-hypnosis too. So if somebody wants to say, well, I don't really feel comfortable doing hypnosis in a session, I teach it to them, and then they actually can go home and they can practice it more and more. And it's a tool they can have forever, the self-hypnosis. So, I just try and meet people where they're at. So, and everybody goes at a different level. Some people go fast, some people go slow. And it depends on the pain and what needs to be changed.
And you're saying that it's typically about 6 sessions, an hour and a half. You know,
Mhm.
I know so many people who have been devastated in certain areas of their life for
Oh, yeah.
a lifetime.
Yeah.
And it's sad. I know people who have been trying to lose weight for health reasons at this point in their life. They really want to live life. They want more vitality. They want to feel better. They want to, no body shaming, okay, guys, no body shaming, but they want to, look better in their clothes. They want to look better out of their clothes. Um,
Right.
and the number one thing that people tell me when they hire me is, they want to get healthy. Yes, they want to lose weight, but I turn it into a healthy weight loss versus, a crazed weight loss.
Hmm.
I just don't believe in the shaming and the harshness. But on the same point, I think that they need to know why they're stuck. I don't know that they necessarily know why they're not reaching their goals. Some people have had weight loss goals for a while, way before COVID. COVID definitely didn't help much because we're in our homes more. But
Right.
but I'm going to ask you guys here, so COVID has definitely put us in our homes. But what are we putting in our homes that is making us fat? You know, it's still us who goes out to the store or dials whatever and it gets shipped to us. So we're still making those choices. So do you ask yourself, why do I bring in those chocolate donuts? Or, you know, why am I eating ice cream at 11:30 at night? Or why am I waking up to eat a muffin? Why do I start my day with bagels, even though Becca tells me not to have a carb? I need to have a protein. So, can you speak to us about habits and some ideas to switch habits?
Right. Right. So I love that whole, yeah, that thinking. So, there's this, yeah. So there's this formula, the formula that's on that card down there, like that Becca brought out. And I love that formula to help us and, work through getting unstuck and understanding maybe sometimes why we choose things that are not very healthy. That the thing is with this epidemic with the virus is that in some ways, even though people are eating more, there's a lot more depression and anxiety than ever before. But this virus really is like a pressure cooker. So us sitting in our homes actually brings out things in us that are actually already in us. So it's in some ways that makes you face things that you've never faced before. So anyways, just to kind of mention about the virus, but with the formula I love is it helps people figure out, okay, when if you see there's an X. So the X represents like something that happens. That's like the trigger. So let's say that it's at nighttime and you're like, oh, I'm going to go for chips or something like that, right? You have to ask yourself, okay, am I really hungry or am I just, going for the chips, right? And so the X is like, so if you're going to go to the chips, you ask yourself, what just happened like 5 or 10 minutes ago? Like, why am I going for the chips? And that's your trigger. Whatever that is, that's the love. And then, so that's what you have to kind of explore is what triggers you to go for the chips. And then, you say the M, which is the meaning. And so whatever
I want to just talk about that X a little bit because guys, there's some of you who are up way too late, and believe it or not, if you're up at like 11, 11:30, 1 o'clock, your body is going to be hungry, right? Because our bodies need to eat like every 3 to 4 hours. So if you're up late, you're going to be hungry. So one of your triggers is not going to sleep on time. You may want to look at your sleep habits. Another one that I found a lot of people have is they watch TV and they eat. So I've talked about putting your sticky note right out there. Get that sticky note, and on it, I love me, no chips, right? And then cross your chips out. So it's habit. You may be eating ritually in front of the TV. That would be your trigger. It would be the TV is your trigger. Bam, you eat whatever it is. It doesn't have to be chips. It could be an apple. But the idea is that you're in front of the TV, you eat. So I just wanted to give a little bit of support on that X. All right, go for the M.
So the X is something happens. Okay. So, sometimes it's like, maybe at night, like you're bored, or maybe you are sad or you're angry. So something happens. That's what triggers like an emotion. That's like your trigger. Right. And so sometimes, it could be anything. Right. But whatever it is, something sets you off. You give and then it goes to the meaning. So the X is the trigger. And then the M is the meaning that you put to that. So if, maybe dusk happens and dusk makes you, you think, okay, the meaning is then that, the meaning is that this thing, that the X will or will not fulfill my needs. So you think, okay, will this situation fill my needs or it won't fill my needs? And then the E is emotions that are generated in the brain. That means that, like, okay, the emotion is I feel sad. Okay. And so then the F is the feeling. So, you think, oh yeah, I feel sad, but you only really know you feel sad because you feel it in your body.
Can
Your
we
body,
can we talk
you
about that E a little bit more? Emotions that are generated in, hang on, in the brain. So
right.
what
So if someone
has,
says, I feel sad, right? Your emotions, your head says sad, right? But you only really know you're sad in some ways because your body tells you you're sad. Like, you typically feel sad, like in your stomach, like you want to throw up, or you feel sad in your heart. It feels heavy, right? That's how I was like, oh gosh, I guess I feel sad, right? So yeah, your brain says sad, but you really only know you're really sad because your body gives you signals of the sadness. Do you understand?
oh, absolutely. But
Oh,
if we can also just stay on the ritual side of it, right? So if if we
well,
because
as you get,
because I think that still happens. So when my friends eat at night in front of the TV, they feel shame. They feel
well, that's the X. See, that's the behavior,
okay.
the distractor, which is the behavior, and that's the potato chips.
Okay.
So you eat because, or maybe because you're sad or bored,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
So the X is the emotional, like something that triggers you.
I think I'm off at E. I didn't get F.
So it's the X is the trigger that kind of gets you going.
Uh-huh.
And then you put the meaning to it. So let's say, it's sunset, you think, okay, sunset's the trigger because, and then the meaning of it is, okay, at sunset, I'm going to be alone. No one's going to be here. So my needs are not going to be met because I'm in my house by myself. So then E is you kind of think, okay, well, I'm sad, right? And then you feel it in your body. You feel, oh, I feel it in my heart. I feel really alone. And then you take the behavior, which is, okay, I'm going to eat chips, or I'm going to vape, or I'm going to drink. So I don't feel that sadness or aloneness anymore.
I'm still not sure what F was.
So it's confusing.
No, so
So,
I got the other ones perfect. I have X, M, and E, but F equals
so F is how you feel it in your body.
how you feel it
But
in your
if I have to ask you, Becca, how do you know when you're happy?
how you feel it in your body. That makes sense. How do I know when I'm happy?
Yeah.
Um, I think I raise my energy level up quite a bit. I think when I'm happy,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I feel like the smile is on my face more,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Right. So you actually feel it in your body. Your body tells you, oh,
Okay.
so even though your mind says it, you need your body actually to let you, like, to know, well, yeah, I am happy,
Yes, absolutely. All right, so that's the F, and then the B.
is the behavior. So what do you, sometimes it's just automatic. And other times it's a choice. So the behavior is, what do you do? It's really called the distractor sometimes, right?
Okay.
So it's, instead of feeling sad, we will distract with a behavior that is, it can be, well, you can either take a healthy approach or an unhealthy approach, right? And so if it's an unhealthy approach, it's called a distractor.
Okay.
It's distracting you really from facing the true emotions. See, all emotions are good, and emotions are really wisdom. Your emotions will tell you how to take motion, how to move to do what you need to do. But the unhealthy way of looking at emotions is when we don't address the emotion and we actually push it down, and then we distract it with things that are really not good for us.
I love
And
that. Lisa, I just I just thought of something.
yeah,
Emotions have the word motion in it.
oh, that's good. I love that.
Yeah.
That's Yeah. So emotions get us their wisdom. I mean, really, they get you. They tell you how to give direction to your life.
They do. They
Yeah.
do. I love this. I love this. I hope you
Yeah.
guys.
I love it too. I mean, I just think this is it's such a great formula. And even you just every day you can just ask yourself, okay, why, something just happened. What just happened? What am I giving the meaning to it? Is it going to fulfill my needs or not fulfill my needs? Like, what does that really mean? And then how does that make me feel, like the emotions in my head? How do I feel then in my body? And then what are the choices I'm making with that? Am I going to do a healthy choice or an unhealthy choice? So when I'm eating chips, I ask myself, why am I eating the chips? Am I really hungry? Or am I distracting myself from really doing something I have to do? Like, why am I doing what I do? And so, or people who vape or drink or whatever, just ask yourself, why, what am I running from? What just happened that's making me go for the wine? And reveals a lot about, the secret, well, the language of your, what's going on inside you. So.
All right. So then the final X is what you do with that emotion. Is that correct?
There's no X at the end. There's only the X in the beginning, because the X is like what just happens. Like, is it like, okay, I just saw my old boyfriend. I'm not, or I just went on a date and I'm not gonna marry the guy, right? Or whatever, something. So whatever is the thing that happens, that's the X. That's kind of like it kind of sets the thing in motion.
Okay. All right. Well, I just messed up my beautiful chart for you.
That's okay.
Whoops, because it's all combined. I thought I saw an X at the tip of it. So we got XMEFB. And I think you have explained it so well. So
Good.
well. Do you have any other examples of cases that were able to see a difference as a result of the therapy?
Well, I think of a person named Linda, and she was, she came in with a lot of anxiety and depression. And through therapy, we were able to work through some of those feelings. And what she expressed was, as a young kid, she was from a very, her father was very wealthy, but he was really abusive.
Mm.
And so she had a lot of trauma when she was young. And so she carried that on to being an adult. And she always, the issue of being trapped, she always felt trapped. And of course, she'd marry men who she felt trapped with, right? So she would repeat the same pattern. So through therapy, she's able to understand that, she's not, that she really, she has the power. She's not really trapped, that she really can change, and she has choices, and she has power, and she is smart. So through therapy, she's able to kind of, own herself, and she's not young. She's in her 50s. So it took her a while.
Hey,
This
be
journey.
careful. 50s is young.
Yes, it is. But you had a very rocky road of actually reinforcing what she learned when she was like 3 and 4 and 5, right? Like she at a young age. So it took her a while just to say, yeah, I'm not that person, like I am not trapped. I have choices. I
I'm not
am
a little
smart.
girl animore.
Money.
Or that
What?
girl is safe now. Like I will
Yeah,
keep that little girl safe.
she's safe and secure now. Like she can provide for herself. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
right. She did a really good job. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a client who actually, I had her get a doll. I'm not a therapist, I'm not anything of that nature, but something rang down to me. We actually had her get a doll, and she spoke to her doll and told her she was safe, and when she would get anxiety and tension and whatnot, and it supported her tremendously.
Oh yeah. I
So
believe that. That's a great visual. You know, it's a visual for us to have like a little us, like a little, you know, like you as a little girl
Yeah.
and nurture you. Yeah.
Yeah. Kelly or Mickey, do you guys have any questions for Lisa?
Please ask a question.
No, I really appreciate this, but I'm just not able to be participating. So I love listening and I'm getting a lot of wisdom. So thank you.
Oh,
Amen. Thank you, Mickey. Kelly, do you have any questions?
No, I don't have any questions, just listening in.
Okay, perfect. Lisa, do you want to share any other tools? Well, this is a huge tool. I love this. I mean, you guys, this formula XMEFB. It
yeah.
is the flow of perception, consciousness, and behavior. And I've taught the 3 steps to behavior change, which is kind of similar, but not as in depth into the psychotherapy mindset of it. So I'll just share with you guys now that and the 3 steps. Let me see if I can pull it up. 3 steps.
I do have a question because we've been talking about hypnotherapy and all of that, but then you said that we went over exact steps. Did I miss something that we can do besides? I mean, what are the exact steps?
Well, hypnotherapy, like I can't, the steps I put out here, like the X, the M, the E, the F, and the B, that's more cognitive. That's really not doing hypnotherapy, but I mean, hypnotherapy is really a process, right? So I teach self-hypnosis in my sessions, and I do hypnosis in my sessions. So and the thing about hypnotherapy, the beauty of it is it's really very efficient because it goes right into your subconscious. You know, when we talk, you know, there's this part of you that feels like you have to, there's like this critical thinker between your conscious and your subconsciousness, which makes you protect yourself, you know, and that's a good thing, right? You kind of need that barrier, because if not, you'd be totally flooding out, you know. But it's hard to go in and get new insight when your body's always trying to protect. So hypnosis actually helps you go into the subconscious and relax and change and neutralize the negative thinking. And the thing about hypnosis and doing therapy is the belief that, you know, we do unhealthy choices not because we logic, you know. The thing is that emotions will always win out over logic. They just will. I mean, you can try and do all these right things, but somehow your emotions are going to sneak out and they're going to sabotage you. So as a therapist, I really look at, well, what is the unhealthy? What's the thing that is you know, sabotaging you? And so I kind of, in therapy, we go after, you know, neutralizing the unhealthy thinking, to work on to figure out, you know, the emotions. So not, and the thing that the emotions, then you'll have a positive behavioral effect. You know, I believe that if I keep just trying to say, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Well, then it's really shaming. And then what happens is, you know, a person can become more depressed and more frustrated, because no matter how much they choose not to have the ice cream at 5 o'clock at night, they keep doing it. You know, so it's kind of like, well, what just happened before you went for that ice cream? What's an emotional trigger? You know, and so that's what therapy helps with. So the diagram I gave, the X, the M, the E, the F, and the B, that's a cognitive way of thinking. So it helps you kind of say, okay, with my feelings, what do I do with my feelings? Like, why am I going for that ice cream? Why don't I make healthy choices in my relationship? You know, like what, so it is a formula that cognitively helps you change. But hypnotherapy goes deeper, you know, it goes deeper than just a formula, but the formula is good to help you work through your emotions on an everyday level. Does that help? Does that answer your question?
So the formula is therapy, is basically.
Oh yeah, it's great. And there's, you just, whenever you you know, the thing is, there's different feelings. Like if you have anger, right? If, let's say the anger is the issue, right? Like, okay, you work through and you say, well, you know, anger, when somebody's angry, it basically means that they feel like something unfair has been done, right? Like this isn't fair. And so the best thing to do is you think about, okay, my perspective, am I perceiving it correctly? You know, like, you know, am I really seeing what is true? And if you're like, yeah, I am seeing what's true, then that really, you know, that's something that happened, that X that makes me angry, you know, you put the meaning to it, you know, and then you put the, you know, what does that mean? That means this person did something that's unfair. You know, they took something from me. And then you have to ask yourself, okay, they took it from me. What do I have to do to make it right? Can I make it right? If I cannot make it right with that person, then I need to forgive that person. And then it works into forgiveness. How do I forgive? What is forgiveness? So the formula helps you, but I mean, there's a lot more depth to it, but you know, but when things happen, there's always triggers that push us to move forward. You know, we all, there's an emotional and internal things that are happening at the same time, you know, and then there's like a chain. We're all working on how to strengthen that part of us. So we're not so reactive to internal things and external things, but that we're actually centered and we're strong in the center of who we are.
I love that. Does that answer your question, Cal?
Yeah, it's fine. Thank you.
No, that didn't sound like I answered it. I think I opened up a whole nother a bag of worms.
Well, you know, there's so much, and then you brought in the component of forgiveness, and you know, a lot of people who are going to be watching this are going to be like, well, how she tells me to forgive this person for X, Y, and Z. She has no idea about the trespasses that have been against me. And do you want to speak about that? I mean, I know personally, forgiveness was one of the tools that God gave me when I was going through my divorce, when I was telling God I wanted to come home. Forgiveness, well, affirmations was the first thing he did. Gratitude, right? So I had affirmations and gratitude. And yeah, you guys, you know, I was spiritual, but not like I am now. This was an awakening for me. So I did gratitude and affirmations first and foremost. And then he's like, forgiveness. And he gave me the Hawaiian Sanskrit of Ho'oponopono, which is a forgiveness tool that I have used with my clients for years. And it's so powerful. And it's not about forgiving the other person necessarily, but it's about forgiving yourself for holding yourself hostage in an old situation that will hopefully presently is not happening anymore. It is the removal of yourself from an old situation and forgiving yourself for having yourself hostage for all that time. It's not about saying, oh, you know, that he has my forgiveness or she has my forgiveness. That can be a component of it. I'll speak quickly on an example for my own self. My mom was, she still is, very abusive. Now, I'm a big girl. When I started getting way taller than her, she no longer physically abused me, but there was always sly little remarks about stuff. And if you guys know my backstory, I missed 20% of my elementary school years. I had dyslexia, I had speech problems, cheesy, pimply skin. I was a mess. I was that ugly duckling inside. And it wasn't until I want to say 47 that I awakened to the idea that I still reside in that story. Now, in between all this, I put myself through college. I opened an ad agency and owned it for 11 years. I had 14 people on staff. I was loved by my family. I had friends, but I still did not feel significant and worthy. And not that any of those titles makes it, but those were my fake make it. It was at 47 that I realized, well, Lisa just said something about being happy. I wasn't happy. Like, I wasn't happy deep inside because I needed to clear my own stinking thinking about who I am. That
Right.
I'm not stupid. I'm not insignificant. I'm worthy of a conversation. My thoughts matter. And yeah. And so it was at 47, post-divorce, that I'm sorry, this is horrible, that I started to really go to work on it. And then it wasn't until I was in my 50s, which is ironic because I'm kind of trying to figure out the trigger for this asthma right now, because what I realized, and I have not been on meds for 15 years, because I realized that part of my sickness was that my body got sick because when I was sick, I didn't get abused. And so very, very interesting. And here I am sick. I'm like, well, who's abusing me? I'm not abused right now. But maybe there's something emotionally connected with my whole being. And so I want you guys to think about that kind of consciousness and behavior and your perception in the flow of who you are in things that you do. You know, we're all the same. You know, it doesn't matter what color skin we have. It doesn't matter how wealthy we are. It doesn't matter where you're born, where you live, what car you drive. We all are a bundle of energy with a gut that has double the emotional constraints and neurons than our brain. And so if you hear the saying, I have this gut feeling, it's because your stomach is your second brain. And it really does control how we move about the cabin. And so I want you guys to think about, if it's your second brain, how with Lisa's formula can you turn off, well, let's not even turn off. Can you acknowledge, walk through the formula and come up with a decision that's going to alter that initial impulse? All right. So that's what we want to do. We want to take Lisa's formula and the knowledge that she's built for us tonight, and we want to evaluate it. Now, here's what I know. That really unhappy Becca, who everybody thought was happy, I was like a plastic Barbie doll. Not that I looked pretty or anything, I'm just saying. I was so fake on the outside. Nobody knew, not even my husband, but we fell so far apart, he didn't even know who I was and I didn't know who he was. It does not surprise me that we got a divorce. I could not figure out how to get happy. I should have gone to Lisa a long time ago. But I share this with you, and I hope that me coming open and being authentic with one of my own scarcities helps you to maybe nail down something that has been going on for you, or ask yourself, because I was 47 when I realized I wasn't happy. Like 47, like how do you just realize it? You know, I started to do the work. I started to do a lot of heavy work, and I did a lot of work. But as you can see, working with somebody like Lisa, it wouldn't have taken as much time as it took me. It took me a whole lot of time. And maybe there's more. Maybe there's more. You know, Lisa, maybe I need to come in and have a couple of sessions with you. I decided a long time ago that this was going to be my last trip on this planet. I did not want to come back. I don't know if you guys believe in coming back or whatever. I do not want to come back. I want to stay an angel. I want to fly above and help people that are down here. I think that this is a glorified hellhole. Let's not get into depression here, but yeah. And I am trying to make amends with everybody and anybody who I have had a fallout with. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean having a conversation with them. For me, that might look like writing a letter, possibly mailing it or not, burning it when I'm done or not, praying about it, writing in a prayer box, writing in a journal. There's a lot of ways. Lisa, do you have some tools for releasing?
Those sound really good. I mean, I love like what you said, that it's not just forgiving other people, but it's forgiving yourself too.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
that was, I have to tell you, out of everybody who I had to forgive, and I had a list. When I got to myself, God had me save myself for last because He knew that was the
Mhm.
hardest one to forgive, actually. It was
Yeah.
easier to forgive a husband who had cheated on me than for
Mm.
me to forgive some of my own personal trespasses, and not necessarily in that marriage. I'm talking about a lifetime. Like I went from the time I can remember, my earliest memory was 4. From 4 until that time, I named everybody in my life that was important to me. And I looked at what I needed to be grateful for and what I needed to have forgiveness for. It was a long process. It was like 2 weeks. It took me 2 weeks to get through this. It was a lot of work. I mean, literally every day for 2 weeks. Like it was boxes and boxes of tissue. If I had stock in Kleenex, I would have made a whole lot of money. But when I got to myself, there were skeletons in my closet that were unfathomable. Now, you guys may lead a completely clean and simple existence and don't feel ashamed or, I don't know, I'll just use the word ashamed for any of your actions. I, I had actions that I was ashamed of. For one, I'll share it with you. I was married for 4 years and they told me I was infertile. I got out of that marriage and I started dating a guy, and I did not use birth control because for 4 years I didn't use birth control and I never got pregnant and I was supposedly infertile. Well, 3 months into the relationship, I got pregnant, and the sad part was, well, there's double sad parts. My former spouse is the one who took me to get an abortion. Can you imagine that I would ask this guy who I couldn't give a baby to take me for an abortion?
Mm.
But he's the only one that I could rely on. The guy who I was dating was not significant. He wasn't supportive. He wasn't, he was kind of abusive. And it was embarrassing. I didn't even think about the complication of asking my former husband. I just knew I needed him. And it was years later that it hit me deep in my heart that I would ask him to do such a horrible thing with me when he couldn't give me a baby,
Mm.
let alone an abortion. And no judgment on anybody who may have had an abortion, and no judgment on me either, ladies. Please, I hope you don't hate me now. It was a horrible time of my life. I was not even ready to be a mom. There was lots of other things could have been done, but it wasn't it wasn't a concept at that moment. So the moral of that story, though, was that I dragged my ex-husband into a horrible situation with me. And this guy could never give me, or I could never give him, vice versa. We couldn't conceive for 4 years. No birth control. Unbelievable. So that was a really painful, a very painful
Yeah.
time for me, that I could hurt somebody else that much, that I could hurt my body that much, that, yes, I didn't know I could get pregnant. Like I was told I'm not going to ever get pregnant. Fast forward, I've had 5 pregnancies with 3 babies. I've had actually, so that was 6. I had 6. I had 2 miscarriages. I had the abortion, and I have three awesome, lovely ladies. But that was a very painful time of my life. And maybe you have something like that. I buried that, but it wasn't hidden. It was buried. And so when I realized I wasn't happy in life, I had to look at all those things in my life that I had done that were causing me to be unhappy, like truly unhappy. Like on the outside happy, but when I look at the inside, I didn't see a pretty.
Yeah, and those things take a lot of energy to keep them down. To keep things a secret or not to focus on, not to process them. It's almost like taking a ball, right, and going to the ocean or going to your swimming pool, taking a ball and putting it underneath the water, holding it underneath the water. It takes a lot of energy. So sometimes when we don't face things that have happened to us or things that we think we're just like pushing down or whatever, or like, oh, it takes from you.
Yeah, 100%. Ladies,
Yeah.
do you have anything to share on that? Not necessarily my situation, but do you have a situation that maybe you've been holding and bottling down that you want to share? I know this is a really deep conversation, somewhat of maybe not wanting to go in. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Aw, I love you. Thank you, Mickey. I appreciate that. Yeah, so I know that this is a really deep conversation, maybe not one that you want to just like type to the general public. If you want to type to me or type to Lisa, that's fine. Or if, like you said, you decided just to kind of be a listener in here tonight, that's fine too.
Yeah, I'm really sorry, Becca, that I just can't be more present, but just your story was so deep and profound, and the fact that, you put out there about the judgment, my heart breaks about that, because I just want you to feel totally loved, because you've given so many of us so many great gifts. Like even just tonight, this has been wonderful. So I just want you to know I love you and I'm praying for you. And we all are on a healing journey in one way or another. So I know there's parts of me that I have to explore and work on as well. But anyways, I just wish I could be more present tonight, but I just can't. I've got some other things going on. So just want you to know I'm here. I love you both. It's been wonderful. So thank you so much for being here tonight.
Mm.
Mickey, thank you so much. Lisa, is there anything else that you want to add?
No, just encouraging people, to give themselves grace and mercy, and to know there are therapists. I mean, you can reach out to me or just find a good therapist to help you reach your dreams, because therapists will help you reach your dream, to get healing, to neutralize things that are unhealthy, and to go for what you are called to do, because we all have a calling. Like Becca, you have, you knew your calling very early, right? Like when you're saying, I remember with the little kids, you always knew you want to do nutrition and health and exercise. So, just know your calling, and that will bring you joy.
Yes, yes, yes. You guys, I'm going to share one more quick slide. This is my non-therapeutic way of changing a habit. And so super easy. I want you guys to take notes on this. You have a reminder, right? A reminder is like your stomach growls at you. So that's your trigger. Your stomach growls. It's a reminder, hey, it's time to eat. Then your routine is what you're going to normally eat. Now, this is the important part because you need to take notice if your reminder and your trigger is something that is not healthy related. We need to change the triggers, right? So when your stomach gets hungry or it's telling you it's hungry, hang on, sorry. Kind of how Lisa said it, ask yourself why. And if you normally eat while you're watching TV, you stick out your sticky note and you write no. And you can stick a sticky note and you can put it on your counter, you could put it in your cupboard, you could stick it wherever the sun shines. If you normally drive and you stop at a fast food store, one goes in your car, says no fast food. You just need to keep on reminding yourself and avoiding that routine, because the trigger is going to happen, but you have to have something in place to switch the trigger, all right? Because the trigger is always going to be there. So it's not like you don't stop a habit, you switch a habit. Okay, guys? So if you're getting hungry while you're watching TV, then either don't watch TV for a week, go for walks, really avoid the temptation. If you change yourself for 5 to 7 days of a habit like that, you will be done with it. It doesn't take 21 days to change a habit. Actually, it takes 59 to 64 days to really change a habit. This 21-day habit changing thing, I don't know who came up with it, but it's not neurologically correct. Lisa, correct?
Right.
And so, but I do know that people with the sticky note, whenever I want to change something, for the last 20 years, I've used a sticky note.
I love sticky notes. I think, right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the name is reset. Every day is a chance to reset. Every decision is a chance to reset. So your routine, your habit, your actions, your behaviors, this is horrible, I'm so sorry. All of those can be changed if you take notice of your trigger. So your trigger happens, it's going to happen. You have to then say, the routine has been to go to the kitchen. You're going to shift it and not go to the kitchen. Then your reward is a pat on the back. Like, I did it. I literally would say to you, go in the bathroom, look in the mirror, and give yourself a high five. Like, totally say yay, right? Or sit on the couch and just jump in there and go, yay, right? So the trigger's there, but you're changing the habit. That's where the whole formulation of the 3 R's of habit formation is. You got the reminder, AKA your trigger. You got your routine. That is the part that's got to be changed. And then you have your reward. And if you don't change it, you don't get the reward. So I don't know about you guys. I live for rewards. Now your reward can be something fun. It could be shopping. It could be a day at the park. It could be just that high five, right? How many high fives? Maybe you could put a chart on your wall and see see how many high fives you can gather in a week. Lisa Lee and I both have a friend, Mary Sherman, who shared with me her chart of success, and I changed it up a little bit. You guys, that was given to you. If you need that, let me know. But that allows you to actually put some red and green or whatever colors you want on things that you're trying to maneuver, whether it's going to sleep, drinking water, eating healthy, working out, negative thought changes, cooking, whatever it is that you're trying to implement. My last bit of advice would be don't try to change too much too fast. Just pick one thing. Just pick one thing. If you're not drinking enough water, focus in on that. And if you were drinking enough water and you're not drinking enough water now, you know, that's where I always ask people just to start with is something really meaningly simple. But if it was so simple, I guess we'd all be doing it. Most of us are not drinking enough water. Our bodies need water. If you're not drinking enough water, you're not flushing the fat, the toxins from your body. And believe it or not, your body will then hold the toxins in fat storage, removing it from your organs because it wants to protect your organs to be healthy. So take a look at maybe even seeing a specialist and getting measurements on your heavy metals and on the toxicity levels of your body, because your heaviness or lack of weight loss may be associated with a burden on your body. There could be other things. It's not just a one and done. There's a lot of equations that to build in this. But Lisa, I want to thank you so much for the flow of perception, consciousness, and behavior. We appreciate your time here. You are so awesome, so giving. I loved all of your examples, your clients' examples. Thank you for sharing that with us. And
Well, it was an honor to be part of this with you, Becca, and I'm so proud of all that you've done. You're really incredible. So thank you for allowing me to share.
You're incredible. You're incredible. We really are grateful for you coming here. You guys, if you want to contact her, her phone number is down there. It's 561-289-3663. That's 561-289-3663. She happens to be located in Boca Raton, Florida. Lisa, do you do virtual calls?
Yes.
You do?
I have or virtual, whatever is convenient and works for for whatever they need. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right. Thank you everybody for coming in tonight. I will